Welcome to Figure Feedback. My name is Jeremy. Today I'm going to be reviewing the NECA Toys TMNT Part 3 2-pack that features Raphael and Donatello. So if you weren't able to pick this up on NECA's website when it first became available, you can find these now at Walmart. It's going to be a 2-pack for these two, and then there's another 2-pack for Leonardo and Michelangelo for $60. So it comes out to about $30 per figure, as well as the array of accessories that you get along with it. And I'm going to see how these are in comparison to the other movie Turtles that they released for Part 1 and Part 2. There's a look at the back of the box. Very nice artwork there as usual. And TMNT 3, I actually really liked that movie growing up. I know that it wasn't everyone's favorite, but it still holds a nice place inside of my heart. So I'm going to crack this open, take a look at everything, and let you know if it's going to be worth your hard-earned money. So let's take a look. So here we go, Donatello on the left and Raphael on the right. And to start off this review, I want to first talk about value so that you can know right from the start whether these figures are going to be worth your money, the money that you work hard for. So the first thing that we are going to see is the quality of the figure. How good do these figures look? So we're going to break it down, 30 bucks, 30 bucks. Before we even talk about accessories, let's take a look at it. Now, NECA is just known for having some really great sculpts and really great paint for their figures, and they put some real dedication into it, and especially with the TMNT line, which is probably their most popular line that they sell. And I can tell you by looking at these figures, they have once again done a really good job of recapturing that classic yet, sometimes hated on third Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. So first, let's look at the paint and the sculpt of these turtles with everything that they're wearing from this ancient Japan era that they found themselves in. And what I really do like about what NECA does, and you can see it from these turtles, is that there is such a nice variation of paint and shading detail throughout the figure, but just kind of starting right from the front of them in this attire whose proper names I do not know, so I apologize. But as we can see here, there's a nice variation of red and black and gray that just sort of goes all the way through this midsection here. And all the paint is nicely, precisely laid out. It looks clean. It doesn't look sloppy. There aren't wild, errant paint mistakes inside of this. It's just really confined, and it looks very nice. And even down here on the pants, it's not just a solid color of paint. They actually added in some darker spots of paint to bring in a little bit more definition and a little bit more shading to it, which is something that could have easily been left out because you don't really see too much of the pants overall. But they still decided to include that in with the figures. And then we also see the nice little outlinings here down on the leg armor or the shin armor, nice gold outlining around there. And it also provides some good variations. Now, the same thing you can say over on the side for the sort of wrist protection gauntlets. It's the same thing going on with that as it was for the leg guard. So we got a nice little outline there. And even on the gloves, it persists through the gloves. Nice variation of colors. And even on the mask that they're both wearing, we've got some weathering effects on the mask. So instead of just making it a solid black color, they added some silver paint to sort of simulate some scratches and a little bit of wear and tear. Just brings more life to it. So that's just with the clothing that they're wearing, but we need to get a little bit deeper and take a look at the turtles themselves. You can see they're all masked up, and that's going to just take me into accessories, then I'll bounce right back to the paint. Here are the accessories that you're going to be getting in the box. Now, first, we've got weapons. We've got Donatello's bow staff, and we also have Raphael's sais that I decided to put down in his belt there. So you get the turtles' weapons. You're also going to be getting some interchangeable hands for both. You can just sort of swap them out. It's going to be one pair of hands each. So in addition to the hands that they already have on them now, we also have some open palm 3-finger hands right here. And then we also get pointing finger hands. And then you also get the awesome scepter the Golden Scepter. Man, I gotta tell you, I really wanted one of these when I was growing up. I thought that this was such a cool mechanic for time travel, and I always wanted one of these, but this is just really cool to have. Mine's looks a little bit bent, but that's okay. It would be amazing if this lit up. It doesn't. I'm not taking anything away from it because it doesn't light up, but it would be great if it did. And it's got some nice Japanese writing down on the side. No idea what it says or even if it says anything at all, but you get this. And it's got like some decent weight to it as well, so that's really cool. And now for the accessories on the actual turtles. Now they both come with these helmet pieces that you can take off. So to me, these are also accessories because you can remove these. Another thing that they come with are these masks that you can also take off. And when you take those off, you'll see that on the back where the bandanas are actually removable. And they're a little bit pliable, so you can like take them and stretch them a little bit so you can get them to do what you need them to do. And you can just pop off the bandana like that. And then you can take the mask and just kind of take it and bring it over their heads. And now you've got the mask completely off. So that's another accessory that you get. So now you can just kind of look at Raphael as he is. And let's do Donatello as well so we can get a closer look at how both of these turtles look without their masks. They look very good. You know, the eyes have a little bit of life to them. And then even like kind of like on the front, where the mouth sort of is, it's not just the regular plain green. There's a little bit of yellow mixed into there as well. It's quite subtle and you kind of have to catch it in the right light to be able to really see it, but it's actually there on Donatello, and it's a very nice touch. It's little things like that, you know, it doesn't stand out immediately, but once you start taking a closer look and you see that kind of attention that NECA decided to put into it, you really start to appreciate it. Then for your $60, you're also getting some cloth goods as well. So these here come off completely. So you can just take these off. You can leave them off if you want, but I personally would like to keep these on. And then there's a wire inside of these also, so you can kind of bend it a little bit. So you get this wired robe for both Raphael and Donatello. And then over on the back, you see like these really kind of light patterns that's on this article of clothing that Raphael is wearing. Now this is just molded plastic, but it has these really cool kind of floral design on it, and I thought that was a really awesome touch. So yeah, there's some nice detail here and some nice quality control and attention to detail as well. Now, articulation for NECA figures has never been the best. It's always been somewhat of a shortcoming for them, but I've never really minded too much because the quality and the detail of the figures itself made up for it, but it's always been lacking. So as you can see here, we get single jointed elbows for Raphael, not double jointed, but we can move these arms in and out just like this. The flexibility of the legs is very, very welcome because they can go out quite a bit, just like that. You can almost get him just lying flat on the ground in the splits, but it doesn't quite reach all the way down there, but it is pretty far. So, you know, you can get them doing a pretty high side kick. So that's great. We got some good flexibility with the legs of these turtles. Down for the knees, you can't really move the knees back too much, simply because this right here, this molded plastic for the, I'm just going to call them pants, they're kind of getting in the way, so you can't really do that too much with Raphael. However, if I just kind of bring in Donatello for just a second, they decided to kind of make the opening on his pants, they gave it more of a gap, so you can do a deeper bend with Donatello's leg, even though it's still not quite it's not a very deep bend, but you can kind of do it still. But with Raphael's legs, it's not, that gap is just not as big. So you can only get a little bit of motion there for bending the leg. But His foot is not obstructed, so you can still move the foot peg up and down, and it's on a ball joint, so you can still pivot it. The toes do not pivot, however. The head has a good range of motion. You can look up about this far, and because the bandana, you can move it around and it's somewhat articulatable, you can move that out the way. So if you wanted to look down, you can do that. You can take the bandana and just move it behind him if you wanted to do it like that. And of course, side to side. And you can also give it a little bit of a tilt if you want to. Now, also, because you got all of this going on in the front, doing the ab crunches, no, not really something that you can do, because there's like no way to access it, because this is all just covering him. So you can just bend him if you want to, try to bend him down a little bit, but it's not really going to take you too far. So, that midsection is going to be reduced to just kind of like a swivel. You got a little bit of a swivel here at the waist, but as far as doing the crunches, not too much. You can get a little bit going, but not much at all. So it's going to be kind of just restricted to the waist area and not necessarily like the ab crunch, so to speak. And and then for the arms, for his hands rather, you can do the front and the back motion twisting of the arms or of the hands as well. And that's pretty much it. Non-articulated fingers, wasn't expecting anything like that. But so articulation for these guys, or at least for Raphael, Donatello, is pretty much the same besides the back of the leg. Kind of limited. Not terrible, but also just sort of par for the course with what we come to expect. And here I've dug out my TMNT 1 and TMNT 2 Raphael figures so we can do a comparison on how all three of them look together. And as you can see, as the years went on, the turtles did start to look a lot more friendly than they did in the first two movies. Personally, I like the TMNT 2 Raphael the best out of all three of these, because I think NECA did just an exceptional job with the skin tones, and to me, he really does look like a shrunken down version of his movie counterpart. And taking a look at Donatello here, it's pretty much the same thing as Raphael. He looks a lot more friendly, a lot more huggable, a lot more cartoonish, if you will, for the third movie compared to the first and second. I once again prefer the TMNT 2 Donatello to the other ones, followed by the TMNT 1 Raphael. And again, the third one is not bad as far as how he's designed, because that's the way that he's supposed to look. But just compared to all three, you consider all things, I prefer the second look more than the third look. So that's my take on the NECA Toys TMNT 3 2-pack that you can pick up at Walmart. And for $60, I do think that it is good value. You get two figures here, you get some very nice accessories, useful accessories, and it completes the trifecta for the Turtles movies. So compared to a lot of things that's going on right now as far as pricing in the toy industry, I'm happy to see that these are still coming in at a 2-pack at what I feel is going to be a reasonable price for some more than acceptable quality. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to see more reviews like this, be sure to subscribe and check back, because I always have more coming. Until then, take care of yourselves, and I'll speak to you soon.